My dad's voice was shaking when he whispered, "Emma, don't go home tonight. Just trust me on this one." I hung up thinking he was being dramatic. 20 minutes later, I watched my street fill with police cars on the news. I'm Emma, and I'm 28 years old. For most of my life, my dad controlled everything. Where I worked, who I dated, even where I lived. He was strict about bedtimes, routines, family schedules. I wasn't the rebellious daughter or the family disappointment. I followed the rules, stayed close to home, and trusted their judgment completely. I thought that made me smart. I thought that kept me safe. If you've ever had your family keep dangerous secrets from you, subscribe right now and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single one. That phone call came at exactly 12:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. In 28 years, my dad had never called past 9 p.m. Never. When I saw his name on my phone screen, my heart started racing. Something was wrong. Dad, what's happening? Emma, listen to me carefully. Don't go home tonight. Stay wherever you are. His voice sounded different. Scared. My dad was never scared. What do you mean, don't go home? I live here. What's wrong? You'll understand tomorrow. Just promise me you won't go home. I was staying at my friend Katie's apartment that night. We'd been working late on a design project. I lived in the guest house behind my parents' main property, paying them rent every month. It was supposed to help me save money while I got my graphic design career started. Dad, you're scaring me. What's going on? Promise me, Emma. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, confused and worried. Katie looked up from her laptop. Everything okay? I don't know. My dad just told me not to go home tonight. We turned on the news at 1:15 a.m., just trying to stay awake and finish our project. The breaking news banner made my blood freeze. Major drug operation busted in residential neighborhood. The helicopter footage showed my street, my house, police cars everywhere, FBI vans, crime scene tape wrapped around our entire property like yellow ribbons on a nightmare present. The reporter's voice cut through my shock. Federal agents have uncovered what they're calling a sophisticated family-run criminal enterprise operating out of this quiet suburban home. My address flashed on the screen. My stomach dropped. My family, my own family, had been running drugs out of our property, and I was living right in the middle of it. The next morning felt like walking through broken glass. Every step hurt. I needed coffee, needed to think, needed to understand what was happening to my life. The coffee shop on 5th Street had been my morning routine for 2 years. The barista knew my order. The regulars smiled and nodded. Not that day. I walked in and conversation stopped. People stared. Mrs. Henderson, who always complimented my design work, actually moved tables when she saw me. The barista avoided eye contact. "Large coffee, please," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "To go?" she replied coldly. Not a question, a statement. My phone rang. "Mum!" "Emma, honey, where are you?" "Getting coffee." "Mum, what is going on?" She started crying. "We need to talk. Can you come over?" "The house is surrounded by police tape. Meet me at Denny's on Main Street, 20 minutes. When I got there, she looked 10 years older. Her hands shook as she stirred sugar into coffee she wouldn't drink. "Mum, tell me the truth." "Your father. We've been struggling financially for years. The business wasn't making money. We were going to lose the house. So you started selling drugs. It wasn't supposed to involve you. You were never supposed to know. But I was paying rent. I was living there. We've been using your guest house utilities to power the grow operation in the basement. Your rent payments." She paused. "They helped us clean the money." The words hit me like cold water. I wasn't just living at a drug house. I was unknowingly part of their money laundering operation. "Mum, do you understand what this means? I could go to jail." "It won't come to that. Our lawyer says if the family sticks together, if we all stay quiet, we can minimize the damage." 20 minutes later, my phone rang again. Unknown number. "Miss Emma, this is David Chen from the law firm, representing your family. I need you to understand something very important. The best thing you can do right now is support your family and keep quiet about anything you might have seen or heard." What I might have seen. I didn't know anything. The prosecution might not see it that way, but if you're loyal to your family, this will all work out. The word loyal made my skin crawl. They'd lied to me, used me, put my entire future at risk, and now they expected loyalty? That afternoon, my brother Marcus texted, "Stop being so dramatic, just ride it out." My sister called an hour later, "Emma, you're overreacting. It's just Dad's business troubles. Family sticks together." Business troubles. That's what they were calling it. I spent the next 2 days researching federal drug charges online, accessory charges, money laundering penalties. I could face 5 to 10 years in prison. My design career would be over before it started. My life would be ruined for crimes I didn't even know were happening, and my family expected me to just smile and take it. But what they didn't know was that I had been documenting everything for months. See, living in that guest house, I'd noticed strange things. Visitors at odd hours, deliveries that didn't make sense, weird smells from the basement, utility bills that seemed way too high for a small guest house. At first, I thought maybe Dad was running some kind of legitimate business I didn't know about. So I started keeping notes, taking photos, tracking the patterns, not because I suspected drugs. I just wanted to understand why my utility costs were so high when I barely used electricity. I had dates, times, photos of license plates, records of every weird visitor, every strange delivery, every suspicious conversation I'd overheard. I'd been building a case file without even knowing it. I wasn't just their innocent daughter anymore. I had learned to protect myself, and I had an ally they didn't know about. My college friend Sarah's father, James Rodriguez, was a criminal defense attorney. I'd met him at Sarah's graduation party. We talked about my design work, about starting a career, about being independent. He'd given me his card and said, "If you ever need legal advice about anything, call me." They thought I'd stay quiet and loyal, but I had something they never expected me to have: options. I called Rodriguez on Thursday morning. "Mr. Rodriguez? This is Emma, Sarah's friend. I think I need help." His office felt like safety. Leather chairs, law books, certificates on the walls. He listened to my story without interrupting, looked through my documentation with raised eyebrows. "Emma, you could face serious federal charges unless you cooperate with the authorities." "Cooperate how?" "Tell them everything you know. Show them this evidence. The prosecution is looking for people to help build their case." "But that's betraying my family." "Your family already betrayed you. They used you without your knowledge or consent. They put your freedom at risk to protect their criminal operation." That afternoon, my dad called. "Emma, we need to talk." "About what, Dad?" "About staying strong as a family. About sticking together through this difficult time." "You mean about staying quiet?" "I mean about loyalty. About understanding that we're all in this together." "We're not all in this together, Dad. You put me in this without telling me." "Sometimes family means making sacrifices." "What sacrifice are you making?" Silence. Meanwhile, Rodriguez and I quietly compiled everything. Photos organized by date, utility records showing suspicious usage spikes, notes about strange visitors, financial records of my rent payments, everything that proved I was an unwitting victim, not a willing participant. The next day, my brother Marcus showed up at Katie's apartment. "Emma, you need to come home. We need to present a united front." "I don't have a home anymore. It's a crime scene." "You know what I mean. Family meeting tonight. Mum's sister's house. 7 p.m. "What if I don't want to come?" His face changed. The friendly brother mask slipped. "Emma, you're either with us or against us. There's no middle ground here." "Is that a threat?" "It's reality." After he left, I called Rodriguez. "They're trying to control my decision. Are you ready to take control instead?" "What does that mean?" "It means immunity agreement. It means your cooperation protects you legally, while their silence could destroy you." "Do it." They kept treating me like their property, like my life and freedom didn't matter, as long as their secret stayed safe. But I wasn't their property anymore. The family meeting was at Aunt Linda's house. Everyone was there. Parents, siblings, spouses, even my teenage cousin. They'd arranged the chairs in a circle, like an intervention. Dad stood up when I walked in. "Emma, we're glad you came. We need to discuss how we're going to handle this situation as a family." I sat down, but didn't take off my jacket. I had Rodriguez's folder in my bag. "Before we start," Dad continued, I want everyone to understand that we stay united. We protect each other. We don't talk to prosecutors or police without our lawyer present. And if we don't agree, I ask, why wouldn't you agree? We're family. I looked around the circle. These people who'd raised me, loved me, controlled me for 28 years. I realized something had changed inside me. I wasn't afraid anymore. I need to tell you all something. I pulled out the folder and placed it on the coffee table. Dad's face went white when he saw how thick it was. What's that? Mum whispered. Documentation. Photos, dates, financial records, visitor logs, everything I've been tracking for months, because I knew something was wrong. Marcus leaned forward. Emma, what are you doing? I'm protecting myself. Dad's voice got sharp. Emma, you don't understand what you're doing to this family. I understand perfectly. You used me, put me at risk, and expected me to thank you for it. I opened the folder. Photos of strange visitors spilled across the table. Utility bills showing massive electricity spikes. Notes about deliveries and late-night activities. You made me an accessory to money laundering. You risked my freedom for your crimes. And you never told me. We were protecting you, Mum said through tears. You were protecting yourselves. I already signed an immunity agreement this morning. My cooperation protects me. Your silence would have destroyed me. The room exploded. Marcus started yelling. My sister tried to negotiate. Mum kept crying. Aunt Linda asked what an immunity agreement meant. But Dad just stared at the evidence scattered across his sister's coffee table. You've been documenting us for months. I've been protecting myself for months. I just didn't know from what until now, after everything we've done for you. Everything you've done to me, there's a difference. For the first time in my life, I wasn't asking for their permission or approval. I wasn't waiting for their decision or following their plan. I was telling them what I had already decided. The prosecutors want my testimony. They want my evidence. They want my cooperation. In exchange, I get complete immunity from any charges related to your operation. And what happens to us? Dad asked quietly. That depends on whether you cooperate too. I can't make that choice for you, but I already made it for me. I stood up and put the folder back in my bag. You can minimize the damage by cooperating yourselves, or you can fight it and make everything worse. But I'm not going down with this ship. I walked to the door. Nobody tried to stop me. Emma, Dad called out. I turned around. You're making a mistake. No, Dad. You made the mistake. I'm fixing it. The next 6 months changed everything. My cooperation with federal investigators led to reduced sentences for my family. Dad got 3 years instead of 10. Mum got probation. My siblings, who weren't directly involved in the operation, avoided charges completely. I avoided all charges and kept my clean record. I moved to Portland, started fresh with a new design firm, and built the independent life I'd always wanted. Different city, clean legal record, and most importantly, freedom from their control. They lost their house, their business, and their hold over me all in one fell swoop. The family that had managed every detail of my life couldn't manage their own criminal operation without destroying it. The hardest part wasn't testifying against them. It was realizing they would have let me go to prison to protect themselves. I finally understood that protecting myself wasn't betraying them. They had betrayed me first. The daughter who always followed rules learned the most important rule: protect your own future. Today, I run my own design company. I make my own decisions. I choose my own risks. Their silence about the danger had trapped me in their criminal world. My honesty about it set me free. If you've ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting yourself, hit subscribe and tell me your story in the comments. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below. I always check and respond. Your story of standing up for yourself deserves to be heard. Share it with this community. We support each other here, especially when family doesn't support us. Right now, you can see 2 more videos on your screen. Don't miss them. Both carry stories that will stay with you.